maybe I want to know how to name it again now. They want the bicycle. What up to what? Sorry, I need to what you are the sea. The sea. But the sea and the other way in. I want to see her side on the wall. You may call a man with a sorry about. The I would have thought the more how December, he thought he could do see what come in our KC and I would have thought the more how we are lucky. Tala, I did tapping about the day by the county to make part of it. I would have party when she said put the pool side up. And upon we see that. She said pull out the body side up. We were up there and see that. Now I make a piece of people, the money that have to find long. Kevin, but the women went up to our pastor Tony. Here I give up that soft people now. Now we're going to welcome our pastor Tony to give us a Good morning. Pastor Sine asked me to share a few words on behalf of Sine, kita tak berdaya, kita tak So I asked Pastor Sine a favor. Please translate for me. My Korean is not very good. I'm sorry. And thank you. When we mark a gravestone, we put very important information on that stone. Certainly we put the person's name on the stone. Maybe his relationship to the family, like father or husband or grandfather or something like that. We always put the date of birth and the date of death on the tombstones. Sometimes there might be some famous words that summarize the man's life. But the most important thing on that tombstone is something none of us pay attention to. It's on every tombstone, but we don't see it and we don't pay attention. It's a little dash. Dash. Between the date of birth and between the date of death, there's a dash. That is the most important thing. How we live our life between the time we are born and the time we die. That dash is the most important thing. I want to talk today a little bit about the dash in Nyaing's life. Nyaing was raised in a family of Christian faith. When I know where the Patrico, you could go for Tasutana.
His father was a Seventh-day Adventist. His father had attended and graduated from the SDA Bible School in Myanmar. Then called Burma, right? He served his church as a pastor. So for his whole life, Nyaing was surrounded by faithful believers in Jesus Christ. It was a natural thing for him to be a follower too. But faithfulness for Nyaing was not only his family heritage, it was a decision he made for himself from a very young age. When I met the family, I talked with his wife, his son, and his daughter. I interviewed them individually, separately. And they all said the same thing about him. He was faithful. But faithfulness for him was a choice. After he finished the 8th grade, he became a teacher of young children. And he taught the children for 2 years. And then he went and attended the Bible school for 2 years. He was teaching again. But eventually, he would become a volunteer assistant to the Korean Army, where he served in that capacity for 22 years. Seven years into that volunteer service, that's when he met his wife. His wife was a Baptist. Her family was very involved, very faithful in their leadership roles in their church. And she told Nyaing he would have to become a Baptist if they were to marry. He knew a good thing when he saw it, so he was baptized and became a Baptist. And he married his wife. He was probably the only Sabbath-keeping Baptist in all of Myanmar. Every Sabbath, week after week, he would take his children to church. He left his wife at home with some Bible verses to study. He let her study it out on her own. Was it 5 years? And his wife became convicted. I should keep the Sabbath.
Mula ni tu bapa lalu tak kaya mengini lah. Ya kerapa sosial mengini lah ni.
And when she talked to the pastor, he was wondering why.
Hey, awe, there ada tahu putra kan ni semua malah.
For your husband's sake?
Mela na wa aku na tulang mengini lah.
For your children's sake?
Itu mela na pu aku ni kena wa mengini lah.
No.
Kemana?
For the Lord's sake.
Mela saya ada aku ni.
She believed it was the right thing from the Bible.
Awe na awe dah le tahu apa yang dari sosial tu lah.
Means faithful.
Mela betul lagi ada tahu kan aku ni.
Meant being faithful to what God wanted in His commandments.
Awe tan na awe ada tahu tan lora tan na awe ni na. Kau penjual saya aku ni. Hotel saya ada mal.
All of the 10 Commandments.
Biar minta malu anti di sini kau.
That's what faithful Christians do.
Awe ni mipa kripola atau anu ni awe ni.
Of course, her parents, siblings, weren't exactly happy with her decision.
Pemula ke apa ni bukan ni. Ibu bapa dia dia minta pun na atau ni atau ni.
Sometimes, in order to follow Jesus, we have to not follow our family.
Tapi kalau kau ni dia tak kau saya akhir dah kami datang ni. Sebab kalau berubah tu kenapa ibu bapa sih tu.
Nyaing was sick for 15 years. After he got sick, he wanted to go back to teaching. But his superior officer in the military wouldn't allow it. Even though he was sick, they wanted to keep him. They loved his work. They loved him. He was faithful. This word kept coming up again and again in my conversation with the family. He was faithful to his wife, to his family, to his kids, to his job, to everybody, especially to God. For him, faithfulness meant two things. It meant to live up to the life that you knew to be true. And it meant that when God brings something new to you, that you are faithful to that which is For example, when it came to paying tithe, that for him was an issue of faithfulness. Always believed he needed to return his tithe to God. In Myanmar, in the concentration camp, when they moved to America, always it was very important to him to be faithful. 15 years ago, he was given 6 months to live. With kidney disease,